And we're running.
Cool. Good morning, everybody. My name is Allison Ayotte, and I'm a tutoring coordinator in the Office of Learning Services. And I'm here with my colleague, Theresa.
Hi, I'm also working in the Office of Learning Services, and I work with embedded tutors and now designated tutors, which we'll talk about today.
And my role in the tutoring center is academic success and content tutoring. So content refers to everything except for writing and STEM. And we also have some other people working in our office who have other roles, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Okay, so every semester we just like to update everyone on what's new. So we're going to go through our website, and if people have questions as we go, we're here to have a conversation. So on the Office of Learning Services website, the mouse is not moving this down.
Click on the screen and then it should.
Yeah, I did.
Then use the touchpad.
Oh, okay. Okay, should be working. Okay. Thanks, Teresa. Oops. Okay. We're gonna walk through our student services with you. Okay, we have a variety of group sessions, one-on-one sessions, as well as online tutoring offerings, which we've been expanding and we'll talk about. So for drop-in tutoring, we offer drop-in sessions throughout during the week for high demand courses. So we're really careful about which courses we offer weekly 2-hour drop-ins for. We want to make sure we're offering the ones that get used. And then if there's other courses that we don't offer drop-ins for, people can make one-on-one appointments for those. We do have drop-in writing tutoring throughout the week where students can come and work on any stage of any writing assignment with a tutor. And another one of our group sessions are review sessions. We've been collaborating with other departments to expand the courses that we offer review sessions for. So in my area, we've started offering review sessions throughout the semester for lower level French classes, Spanish classes, German classes, and linguistics. And Teresa's area has a lot of review sessions. Yes. Okay. All right. As always, students can make one-on-one appointments with tutors for a multitude of classes that we offer. Okay. So those are called tutoring sessions. And every semester we update the list of courses that we tutor. That's based on courses that our tutors have taken and achieved at least a B+ in the course and that they feel comfortable tutoring. So this will be revised at the beginning of the semester so that students can make appointments for the specific courses that are offered next semester. And of course, we offer writing assistance. So students can make appointments for any stage of any writing assignment in addition to the drop-in option. And we have expanded the types of assistance we can provide. We do have Dr. Lynn Blanchfield who partners with us to help students with graduate school and fellowship applications. And then our tutors can also help with personal statement and scholarship applications. Okay. And we also offer academic coaching. So we focus on effective learning strategies for studying and exam prep. Also, we offer time management and calendar apps. So whether students want to use a paper planner, use digital calendaring strategies, or a combination of both, Students can come in at the beginning of the semester, get themselves organized for what's due when. And they can do this anytime throughout the semester. We have students who like to have like a weekly check-in on this type of thing. Okay. Last semester, as a result of a student's communication studies capstone project, we added public speaking and presentation prep for another academic coaching service. We would love to continue offering this. Right now, we don't have a tutor slated to do it. So if you know anyone who is really skilled at public speaking and presentations and would like to share their expertise with our fellow students, we would love to have you encourage them to apply to be a tutor. And we'll show you at the end of our conversation how you can help us get the word out. Okay. And Theresa, is this where you wanted to jump in?
Did you want to talk about online first?
Sure. Okay. All right. So we have been every semester expanding our online offerings. So we now offer tutoring for degrees that are completely online. So there's, business, criminal justice that are available completely online. Last year, we did see a significant amount of usage for the business courses, especially with the math courses. We have not gotten usage as of yet with criminal justice, so we'd love people's help in getting the word out about that. Online writing tutoring is available to both on and off-campus students. We were able to do that because we don't have a whole lot of students making online writing appointments yet. And we found that by allowing online or on-campus students to also book the service, there were students that booked an online appointment that weren't interested in coming in person. They felt more comfortable in the online environment. So during the winter and summer when OLS is not open, people have access to Thinking Storm still. They also have access to Thinking Storm throughout the whole semester. So if there's a course that we don't tutor, or if somebody needs help at a time when the tutoring center is not open, for example, on a Saturday, we're not open, people can access this online resource. Okay. And if we have distance students that need help with calendaring, we've had students book this Google Calendar for help with planning and time management from a distance. So, okay. I'm going to hand it over to Theresa.
Great. Did anyone have any questions for us before I start talking about embedded tutoring? Cool. Okay, so under our faculty and staff services, you will find our page about embedded tutoring. If I can get the mouse back. There we go. So for embedded tutoring, if you're not familiar with what that is, really briefly, embedded tutoring involves OLS placing a tutor into a specific section of a course. And so embedded tutors will attend each class session and offer in-class support to the faculty and to the students. And then they will hold out-of-class supports through drop-in tutoring, through review sessions, through one-on-one sessions. So this is really helpful because it helps the tutor to learn a lot of information about the specific section, which can make tutoring sessions that much more efficient since they already know where the class is at in terms of content, maybe even on the student's ability level at that point. It really helps for tutoring sessions to be more effective and for the time to be used better. So one thing I wanted to touch on with embedded tutoring is moving forward, we're really prioritizing active learning environments. So embedded tutors are best utilized in classes where there's heavy practice, time for the tutor to get up and move around and integrate themselves with the students. as opposed to a lecture setting. We do have other services available that I'll talk about in a second for maybe more of a lecture type of environment. But I just wanted to add that about really it's best to have an embedded tutor in an active learning environment. We're also looking toward prioritizing our gateway math courses in accordance with the academic momentum that's coming. It's also really, really helpful in an embedded tutoring setting to have a particularly invested faculty member who is willing to communicate their expectations to the tutor, willing to let them know what's coming in the class, help them to prepare for their review sessions and things like that. So those are all really important things when it comes to an ideal embedded tutoring placement. If you were wondering how to request an embedded tutor, you can find our Google form right here at the bottom of this section. Or you could always reach out to us by email and we will get your request that way too. I mentioned a little bit that we are also offering designated tutoring this semester. I am still editing the website, so I hope you'll forgive me for that. But a designated tutor is different from an embedded tutor because they don't have to attend the class sessions. So sometimes there are placements where maybe we've had an embedded tutor, but it's more of a lecture style. So an embedded tutor might not be as well utilized as they could be in that case. So for cases like that, we could offer you a designated tutor, and that's just somebody who can provide the students with targeted review sessions. So the idea is a designated tutor would meet biweekly with a participating faculty member to get information about what they can expect on the upcoming assessment, to help tailor their support to what's actually being assessed later on. So this is especially helpful in cases where, like, if a faculty member is teaching a class maybe in a different order than the other sections are. So you'd think that a review session for, for example, Math 101, like that could cater to everybody. But what's really nice about a designated model is it's focused on that one particular instructor's instruction. So how they've gone about the class, the structure, what they expect in terms of grading. So a designated tutor is intended to meet with the instructor to gain a little bit more information about how they structure their class so that they can better prepare their students in the review session. So the idea is they would meet bi-weekly to talk about what should be in the review materials. They could even edit it with the professor if the professor wants to look through it and see that it looks well aligned with the upcoming assessment. But really just that communication piece is really helpful for a designated tutor. So another way to request a designated tutor, that is through the Google form. And one thing I think I actually already talked about it, but you'll notice that the ideal characteristics for a designated tutor course are a little bit different than for an embedded course. It's because we don't have that in-class component. So it's not as critical to have a certain style of teaching with a designated tutor. So again, to get more information about these things or to ask for either an embedded tutor or designated tutor, you can reach out to us at the OLS email, or if you know my email, you can reach out to me. We'll get your request anyway. So I'll hand it back to you, Allison.
All right, thank you. So while we're in the faculty and staff services section, I think that's where we are, right?
Yep.
Okay. We want to point out how you can help us recruit and recommend tutors. So we are actively recruiting for tutors for the fall. We had a lot of people graduate, and we also have students who are moving on from tutoring to internships. So we love faculty and staff recommendations. So if you know somebody who you think would be a great fit for tutoring, who could help their peers, with their academic learning, you can fill out this form here, and we will we'll see your entry, and then we'll reach out to that student with instructions for how to apply. When they do apply, they have to have a recommendation from a faculty member. So if they're reaching out to you to let you know that, to ask you if you'd be willing to fill out a recommendation for them, the recommendation can be found here. And we know everyone is busy, so we make it really easy to fill out. Okay. So there's no, long letter required, just a quick Google form. Okay. Also, we can take recommendation, or if you have people to, that you think would be a great tutor, you don't have to fill out the form. You can email us and we can reach out to them. Our link for students to apply is right here at the bottom of the website. So when we get the people that you're suggesting we reach out to recruit, we will send them this link so they can easily go to Handshake and apply, or you're welcome to point this out to them if you're having a conversation in person with them about being a tutor, or you can send them the link. So lots of ways to get in touch with us, whatever works best for you. Okay. So as I said, we're actively recruiting tutors. Right now, so our staffing kind of changes a little bit semester by semester. So Amy Welsh is back from maternity leave, so she's back to coordinate any STEM tutoring that's not embedded. Is there anything to add to that, Theresa? Okay. And then Casey Town, our associate director, is overseeing writing tutoring right now. So if there are any questions or recommendations for writing tutors, you can reach out to either Casey or to ols@oswego.edu, and we will get those questions answered. So speaking of questions, does anybody have any questions for us at this time?
I have 2 questions. There was that form that you showed us to request a tutor, an embedded tutor. Is that the same one that we already filled out maybe a month or 2 ago that Theresa sent around, or is that a separate one? And do we need to fill out that new one also?
Only if you have a specific student that you want to work with, but you could just email me.
Okay, so I've already done what I need to do.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, all right. I may email you about specific students still.
Sounds good.
And the next question, do you keep recommendations from semester to semester if we recommended someone in the past? I'm thinking especially if there's a student who did well in the course, but currently their GPA is maybe slightly below what you need for a tutor. Would you come back to that recommendation, or would you want us to keep track of this student is a potential future tutor?
We have all of our records of past recommendations, so we can certainly look through those. But if there's somebody in particular you think, again, I don't know what their grade is, but I think they'd still be good, that's always a good nudge for us to prioritize that student.
All right, thank you.
All right, and we always welcome faculty and staff input. If you have ideas for other ways that our peer tutors can help support your students, please let us know. You can always reach us at ols@oswego.edu, or reach out to us individually. Does anybody have any feedback for us at this time? Anything we could do to help support your students further? Okay. Well, I think we are at the time.
Okay, thanks. If you could just stop the recording.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Notices.
I'm avocado. Yeah.
Yeah.
Better.